Good morning,
Morning,
Edward.
Good morning, Edward.
Hello,
Good
Edward.
morning, Edward.
Photographs in picture frames are never quite the same. Touching glass instead of skin, defining what has changed. Voices on the telephone, assurances are made that this storm will blow its breath and bring you back again. It's been a long time since you've been gone. It's been a long time. So how you been? It's been a long time. Miss you, my friends. It's been a long time. So come on in. Stretching days from weeks to months, stoic and resolved, we try our best to hold on tight until the problem's solved. We heard the call, we walked the path, we followed all advice, and now the light above the porch, it beckons in the night. It's been a long time since you've been gone. It's been a long time. So how you been? It's been a long time. Miss you, my friends. It's been a long time. So come on in. The house is clean, the table's set, the silver polished bright, the welcome mat laid out again and swept of leaves as I stand in the door, hand over eyes, peering in the night, waiting for the sight of you coming up the drive. It's been a long time since you've been gone. It's been a long time. So how you been? It's been a long time. Miss you, my friends. It's been a long time. So come on in. So come on in. So come on in. So come on in. Miss you, my friends. It's been a long time. So come on in.
Good morning and welcome to Edwards Congregational United Church of Christ here in Davenport, Iowa. I am Pastor Lisa Gaston, and I am honored to serve as the pastor for a wonderful congregation of people who have been very committed to the community for over 185 years. We've had a long presence, one of the first churches here in the community, And we have been very involved in social justice and supporting the community in a variety of ways, as well as bringing together or being together with our Jewish temple and the Unitarian Church, and now the Metropolitan Community Church and the mosques. We love to do interreligious events together, and we are always exploring ways to connect with people. And we have a wonderful opportunity now through social media. So if you're somebody who found us along the way on the magical mystery ride of Facebook or YouTube, we welcome you and we're glad you're with us. If you'd like to know a little bit more about our congregation, please send us an email. You can find us on our website at edwards-ucc.org. And I invite you to send us an email. We can include you on our email list. We send out an email on Mondays and Thursdays with a little more information about what's going on and some things to think about and some ways to grow your spirituality. We have a Bible study we're starting this coming week. We're studying the book of Mark, and it's a very interactive Bible study. We do learn about the Bible, and we also look at how it fits in our life. We would love to have you get to know us a little bit better, and as this video ends, you're going to see a picture that is a word cloud of words that folks have sent in about how they have been touched or what this congregation means to them. And I hope that you will find a home here yourself and that you will reach out and find a way to make the next step with us. Because no matter who you are or where you are on life's journey, you're welcome here. We are a place of Christians who are full of questions and seeking answers, and people who are willing to walk alongside each other in that exploration of what does it mean to be a Christian in these days, and what does it mean to live out your faith. We're glad you're with us. What really matters? So many things seem to require our attention in this life journey. Our inspirational song that we're hearing throughout these weeks, portions of it, and sometimes the whole one, talks about, I don't want to miss what matters. This Sunday, we're inviting testimony from two of our parishioners, two from our congregation. That's a fancy word for people in our congregation. And what they've discovered about what really matters in life and how they've been touched. Especially for our lives as Christians, it calls us to be in community with each other. And sharing our stories can help lift each other up when we're having tough times and when we contemplate what Jesus tells us is the bottom line. As we come together to begin our worship, we also come to confess ways in which we've fallen short this week. And I invite you to join me in prayer. Gracious God, who leads and guides us on our way, we thank you that in this life, ministry, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, you have shown us what it means to keep your love at the center of our lives. We confess that in the rush of things that demand our attention, sometimes the heart of our faith gets lost. Forgive us when we allow the things that we are going to name now to get in the way of what really matters. Holy One, refocus our passion on the vision of justice and mercy that you called us to and what you have called us to bring to life. Keep us always mindful and aware of your grace so that we don't miss what matters. In the name of the one who gives us courage to follow the truths that you reveal to us, we pray and are forgiven with Jesus' grace and mercy. Amen.
These verses that I'm going to read speak to the mission that Jesus was leaving us to carry out. To me, it is the very heart of his message to us. Jesus, in his whole ministry, served others and gave everything for all of us. I will be reading from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 25, verses 36 to 46. I was hungry, and you fed me. I was thirsty, and you gave me a drink. I was homeless, and you gave me a room. I was shivering, and you gave me clothes. I was sick, and you stopped to visit. I was in prison, and you came to me. Then those sheep are going to say, Master, what are you talking about? When did we ever see you hungry and feed you, thirsty and give you a drink? And when did we ever see you sick or in prison and come to you? Then the king will say, I'm telling the solemn truth. Whenever you did one of these things to someone overlooked or ignored, that was me. You did it to me. Then he will turn to the goats, the ones on his left, and say, Get out, worthless goats. You're good for nothing but the fires of hell. And why? Because I was hungry and you gave me no meal. I was thirsty and you gave me no drink. I was homeless and you gave me no bed. I was shivering and you gave me no clothes. Sick and in prison and you never visited. Then those goats are going to say, Master, what are you talking about? When did we ever see you hungry or thirsty or homeless or shivering or sick or in prison and didn't help? He will answer them, I'm telling the solemn truth. Whenever you failed to do one of these things to someone who is being overlooked or ignored, that was me. You failed to do it to me. Then those goats will be herded to their eternal doom, but the sheep to their eternal reward.
I was visiting Lynn Warren back in early summer, and she and I were sitting outside, as we are right now, more than 6 feet from each other, and we were talking about, I don't know what all, faith or something, and I asked her about this tomato plant.
Well, it must have been a time when I was feeling particularly stressed money-wise and stretched, because I know that I always liked to keep, a fair balance in my checkbook so that I could cover bills and things. And apparently this was it first started when it was a time when it was getting lower than made me comfortable. And I was sitting in church and worrying about it. And I don't know, it was, I won't say it was a voice, because it wasn't, but there was a sense that just kind of came over me. I'm sitting in church worrying about money. And so I thought about the widow's mite, and about how pleasing that was to God. And I was sitting in a place where our goal is supposed to be, we're worshiping God. We're here in praise of God. And I'm worrying about money. And so I thought, the church needs this money. I don't need this money. God's going to take care of me. And the church needs all of them. And so I just wrote every penny of my money to the church in a check. And that cleaned out my checkbook. But what was so odd about it was that maybe 4 days later, and I don't even know why I looked in this particular place. It was the oddest, because it was summer. There was no reason for me to. I don't know what attracted me, but I found $300 in cash in a coat pocket.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, is right. Where did that 300? Nobody knew. Nobody recognized. It was just there. But and it was just funny. And but it was very comforting, because I had really cleaned out my checking account, and that was enough to tide us over. And so when I would get that feeling periodically, then I decided that was nice. If I would get that feeling of worry, I felt so peaceful after I had written that check. It had just taken all that worry away. So I did it again. And I don't remember, these things happened various times, but at some point I got a check in the mail for $600 and something from the hospital. From a bill that apparently had been overpaid. I didn't, no clue, but it was my name, my account, whatever. And it got to the point where it started being funny. Mary Ann would laugh and joke about it, and, it was kind of, because every single time I would worry about money, and I would write a check, and I would feel good about that because I had put my faith in God, and I knew that God would take care of me. I didn't ever think God was going to take care of me with actual cash money.
Right, yeah.
But that happened over, and there would be something here or something in the mail or somebody. My sister bought us a couch one time, completely out of the blue. You've been so nice to us over the years, she said. We're buying you this couch for your house. And wow,
Yeah.
I knew that if I ever started doing that, thinking I was going to get some monetary reward,
Right.
I would never get anything.
Right.
I wasn't being paid off.
Right.
It was,
right.
you know what? It was like God was keeping the faith with me,
Yeah.
because I was keeping the faith with
Right.
God.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I think it's easy for us to rely on ourselves these days. We want to, and we're very much a country of pull yourself up by your bootstraps and take care of yourself, and yet our faith calls us to rely on God, and
Yes.
our financial giving is part of that. It's not to give to the church, like you say, because I have to, or because God is going to favor me if I do. It's that I have been blessed, and so I give freely. So well, thanks for sharing that today with us, Lynn. I appreciate that.
What if there's a bigger picture? What if I'm missing out? What if there's a greater purpose? I could be living right now outside my own little world. Yeah. Well, I have always felt like when I look at a young man, I see my son.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I look at a little girl, I see my daughter. Or an old person, I see my mom or my dad. And I've always felt like that's what God calls us to do, is to look at people not by how they're dressed or what color they are. We're called to look at them as our kin, our people, the people that we're supposed to love no matter what. And I felt like when we became open and affirming, that it just kind of put it into practice. We don't have to worry about if somebody's gay or somebody's whatever. We don't have to worry about that. We're supposed to love them.
Yeah.
And, we don't have to like everybody, and we're not going to get along with everybody, but we're called to love them.
Yeah.
And put the other stuff aside.
Yeah.
And I think in this day, we're so caught up in not loving one another.
Yeah.
That it's really nice to know that Jesus is there.
Yeah.
Loving
Yeah.
us.
Right.
God loves us. No
Yeah.
matter what.
One of the things too that you told me was that for you it felt very freeing to be open and affirming. Do you want to say any more about that?
Well, if you don't have to worry about if somebody comes into your church and they're, not how all the other people look. If you don't have to worry about that, you're free.
Yeah.
You can just go up to them, talk to them, and it's like normal. Hello, how are you?
Right.
And before, I think not before, but I think that there are many churches where there's a definition of who can belong.
Yeah.
And we don't have that.
Yeah. And then you also shared with me in terms of, looking outside our own little world. How does that fit in with the open and affirming? You were just saying like you felt like we have thought outside our own little box, our own little world.
We did.
Yeah.
We learned, it was done in a very careful way. We studied, we discussed it. It was a long process. And it just brought everybody into seeing how we were not open to the outside world. And this way, we were like bringing people in.
Right.
Instead of shutting our doors.
Yeah.
So, I think it was a very important time.
So for people, there were people in our church for whom this was a personal matter, but there were also people for whom they had no experience with it, so they were able to learn, and hear some new things and have their perspectives widened a little bit.
Yeah.
Which also then, really, I think about the families who, in their own family, had maybe children or grandchildren who were gay or lesbian or bisexual or transgendered. They didn't have to hide either anymore, and they also were welcomed in.
Because you wouldn't talk about it.
You wouldn't talk about it.
You would be like, I don't know anything.
Oh yeah,
about that.
my child lives, wherever, and then that's it. You know. And
it just frees everybody.
Yeah. Well, I think that is, it's a beautiful, what you're sharing is really beautiful about, what you've discovered about what really matters. And
I just remember my dad looking at a young man who had all these chains on and stuff, and he made some comment about it, and I said, I see that kid in 10 years with a mortgage and 2 kids.
That's right. Yeah. Hairline receding.
You never know.
Exactly. Never know. Yeah. Oh, thanks so much for sharing, Cathy.
Mm-hmm.
What if there's a bigger picture? What if I'm missing out? What if there's a greater purpose? I could be living right now. I don't want to miss what matters. I want to be reaching out. Show me a greater purpose so I can start living right now. Outside my own little world. Outside my own little world. Outside my own little
And now may God bless you and keep you. May God's face shine upon you and give you peace. And may you live in love to serve the Lord. Amen.
It hardly ever rains. I've never gone hungry, always felt safe. I got some money in my pocket, shoes on my feet. In my own little world, population me. I try to stay awake through Sunday morning church. Throw a 20 in the plate, but I never did till it hurts. I turn off the news when I don't like what I see. Yeah, it's easy to do when it's population. salvation.